What's up, everybody? Here, Toyota fan, and today we're going to be talking about some exciting new Toyota. Oh God! Alright, I just had to look at that to get my mind off of what I just saw. Alright, but seriously though for a second. Toyota has got some really exciting plans in the mix. Their concept cars look awesome, and I'm really excited for what the next generation of Toyota cars is really going to look like. On a very real way, Toyota has to do quite a lot of reshaping for their company. The way that I see this, at least, is that for a long time people were kind of in this economical period, and we really cared about gas mileage, and that was the main thing. And now it seems that people are changing a little bit. There's a lot of different companies that are pitching these really big horsepower cars and really trying to reshape their image and kind of crawl out of that hole, if you will. Chevy has the new Corvette, which is just an amazing car. It's probably the best American car in recent times. Dodge has their Hellcat series. Even Honda has reshaped their Civic to be a little bit more sporty and exciting, turbocharging it even. And not to mention the Type R, which is just an insane front-wheel drive monster that is kind of, as some people have said, Honda's apology for making somewhat, don't kill me, boring cars for the last several years. So that's a really big deal too. Not to mention the NSX that's also in the works. With all that said, what does that mean for Toyota? What is their response going to be to this new and exciting generation of kind of high horsepower, real exciting cars? I think that's really all that needs to be said. That's just a gorgeous, gorgeous car. Look at this thing. I mean, honestly, this is the new Toyota FT1 concept car. If you haven't seen this, yes, it's a Toyota. If you have seen it, I'm going to be talking about some of the speculation about the pricing and things like that, release dates, and what I actually know about it. Because there's still quite a bit that people don't know. But yeah, let's start with some kind of design stuff and speculation, things like that. People are wondering how much of this crazy beast is actually going to make it to the market. What are they going to change? Is the whole design going to stay within its entirety? Or is it going to be really toned down and look like a somewhat regular car? And is this just kind of them teasing us? Well, Toyota's not quite Subaru or some other car companies that just make these ridiculous concepts, and then, when they come to life, you're like, oh, okay, well, I sort of guess that has one or two of the same design elements. If you look at the Toyota FT86, alright, there we go, the FT86. This is actually the concept car that made the GT86, of course, as well as the Scion FRS and Subaru BRZ. Give or take a couple of changes on the BRZ. But this is the concept car that got everyone excited. And if you look, at first glance, you might even mistake this for an FRS. Sure, the wheels are different, this front end's a little bit different, but say 90% of it is really exactly the same, and this is their concept car. So this gives you an idea. One thing I'll notice is the headlights here have this really aggressive kind of triangular shape, real angular and aggressive. They have sort of this similar kind of wheel arch design with the brake cooling as we see in the FT1. I don't think that this is going to make it to market in the FT1, being as, just seems to be something that they do with their concepts. So I'm going to speculate that that's probably not going to make it to the final copy. But if you look at other stuff here, a lot of this, the fangs, this aggressive kind of front end really did stay. So I think that that could have a pretty good chance of staying on the FT1, where it looks even more exciting. Back to the excited car. Alright, yeah, back to the FT1. So one of the other big things, the design cues about this, is you actually see this little engine cover here. You can't see it all that well in this picture, but you can actually see the engine in here. And I'm not quite sure how I feel about this. This segues us nicely into some info about what the engine's going to be like, how much power this car is going to have. It's speculated that this should have a 4-cylinder, 2-liter turbocharged engine with two electric motors, and that should bump it up to somewhere over 400 horsepower. 450 or so is kind of the estimated number right now. That should be pretty interesting. Some people aren't liking, me, myself included, I'm not liking a whole lot that people are just sticking turbocharged 4 cylinders in so many different cars. If you look at Audi, that's a lot of their base models. A lot of car companies, I can't just single out one. A lot of people are doing that now because it's cost effective, and if you make a good 4-cylinder, you can really get a lot of power out of it. I'm not quite sure what this is going to be like, though, because when you have a hybrid package I think that should help eliminate some of the turbo spool, and it should give it a really different feel. You know, people talk about having a naturally aspirated 300 horsepower is a lot different than a turbocharged 300 horsepower, and I think it's going to be even different when you have a hybrid turbocharged, 450 horsepower. That should be really interesting. And with the sporty interior on this car, I don't feel like there'll be much to complain about because you're just going to feel so locked in, like this cockpit kind of design. I have not seen an interior this gorgeous in quite a while. You got some interesting design cues here. The pedals down here, if you notice there are only two, there may only be an automatic version of this. I have no idea, but the concept car is an automatic, and it's got paddle shifters, and it looks a little bit like there might not be a manual. Not quite sure how I feel about that. Personally, I love my manuals, but when it comes to having a whole lot of power, then you sometimes do lose a bit of the feeling, because if you're not shifting absolutely perfectly, and sometimes even if you do, you're still losing some power. You've got this little display here that tells you what gear you're in, and some info like that. You've got a heads-up display up there as well, and you really notice how, self-centered this car is. That's exactly what Toyota wanted. They say that, a sports car is this real selfish purchase, and it's really all about you when you get it. And that's absolutely true. It's, maybe some other people don't want to say that, but that's exactly what a sports car is. You buy it because it's fun, and because it's for you. And I think it's really awesome that they're just not afraid to just really close you off and make you feel, like you're in control, and then, screw the passenger. You get to touch the radio. And again, not sure how much of this will actually make it to the market. Some of the FT86's interior looked a little bit space-agey, and I think we could say that was, maybe a little bit too much to ask for in a car that was going to be that price segment. This one, which again segues us into the price, I'm not quite sure when it'll be. Estimations, I've heard everything from $40,000 to $100,000. I don't think that it'll at all reach $100,000. If I can just be a little bit boring for a moment, let me explain why this is. Big thing is, this is a Toyota. Toyota is really all about making things that are affordable. Lexus is a whole nother story. They made the LFA, that's a $300,000 sports car that's just a smidge faster than the GTR, because it's just this ridiculous amount of precision, and it's carbon fiber, and there's, it's all that sort of stuff. And it is Lexus. Toyota is meant to be affordable. It's supposed to be the everyman's kind of car. And that's always sort of been what they've said. And in multiple interviews with the people who have designed this car, they've said that, it's a Toyota. It ought to be affordable. It's I can actually see this being the same price that the Supra was back in its day, which was something around $45,000. I can't say for certain, of course, we don't really know, but I can see that kind of price happening. I think this has to be a bit of a bargain car, not in terms of skimping on anything, but in terms of also restating something that most people have forgotten about Toyota, that they used to make these crazy sort of, over-engineered, super sporty cars. People don't see that as Toyota anymore. So, just, oh, hey, look, a $100,000 Toyota, that's just not going to happen. Another big thing that I think you have to account for is now that there's a lot of good deals out there. I mean, the Corvette is an amazing deal at $55,000. It's an amazing car. It's very American. It looks very stylish. And I think you'd have to compare this car to that in a lot of ways. It's got this very accentuated style. It looks like a car that's much more expensive than it is. And this is really going to have to compete with that, especially because the Corvette is already this huge name. And it's been continued. The Supra kind of fell off the face of the planet for a long time, and people are just praising the old ones that still exist, and they still want to buy those for $35,000 and more if they're in really good condition. I think it's going to be a lot of, revitalizing the name. A lot of what the FT86, that was a really big thing for Toyota, saying, hey, look, we're going to try something a little bit sporty again. In America, that was even under the Scion name. So what exactly will this amount to? I'm not sure, but my speculation is this car will probably be between the $40,000 and $50,000 price range. I could see it being much higher from some, specialized track models, other things like that. Moving right along to another exciting car. I know that's probably not what you imagine when you think of a sporty little car, but I'm actually very excited for this. So this was just recently announced. I want to say like 2 or 3 weeks ago that we first saw this glimpse of this car. This is the Toyota SFR. This is this exciting little car. It does only have 130 horsepower, thereabouts, but don't fret over that, because so many people are so focused on horsepower now, but this thing is going to weigh just around 2,000 pounds. That is insanely light by today's standards. This thing's also going to be really small, and it's got this T-top design, so, just like those old cars, you could take, one pane off, and you could have just the driver's side have, air, or both off, and you have kind of this convertible type thing. So like I said, yeah, not a lot of horsepower, but it is rear drive. That's going to be the biggest thing here. This is totally a Miata fighter. It's really not much else. It's not, if you're looking at a Miata, there's not a whole lot that can, persuade you from that. The FRS is a little bit of a different kind of car. It is a stock drift car, if you really think about it. And the Genesis Coupe is also, it's a good competitor, but some people aren't really certain about the Hyundai name. Having a Toyota that's going to have the same kind of power and really attract the same kind of market as the Miata, especially those people that are getting a little bit tired of having Miata project cars, this could be a really big deal. The styling, if I'm honest, not super. It looks cute, okay? It looks cute. That's all I have to say about it. The sort of bug-eye headlights, everything's really rounded on it. I don't know what that'll end up looking like. The rule of Toyota, like I said, is usually the headlights don't come out the same. I don't think that'll be exactly what it looks like, but I think that this general kind of design will stay. It's not going to end up looking super aggressive when it really comes out. And maybe that annoys people, but honestly, I feel like it would annoy more people if they made this thing look super aggressive. It would be kind of an FRS type situation. So maybe this is them saying, okay, well, we don't have a lot of power, so we're going to make it look like it doesn't have a lot of power. The biggest thing about this car, though, is price. In Japan, they've said that this is going to be $10,000 cheaper than the Miata. I don't want to do any sort of wrong math and say that that's going to be $15,000 in America, but I think this will be very, very affordable. I would say safely it's going to be under 20. That will be a really big deal. This thing will just sell like hotcakes. I think that it's going to do really well in the kind of market where people want something affordable. It's also going to have really good gas mileage. I believe 47 is what I've heard. I'm going to write an annotation if I get that wrong. But it's going to have really good gas mileage. It's going to be a cheap car, rear drive. And a lot of people that want kind of a weekend car or just want something a little bit different, they've got a minivan, dads, stuff like that. There's a really big market for this kind of thing. So I think that they really are recapturing, the essence of driving. They're doing what car companies, in my opinion, should be doing now. Now that we're getting a little bit better off, we can afford some sort of excess things. It's nice that they're looking at this in the right way, not just going, oh, look, we'll have self-driving cars. I think that they're really just hitting the nail on the head. That's about it for this week. I will come back with more news when I've got some other exciting stuff to report. This isn't all just going to be Toyota news, but I felt it was appropriate for my first news report to be on Toyota specifically. Anyways, Toyota fan here. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you soon.